We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the #2 population for 400 years. You're gonna get kicked out of being #2, you're gonna go down and become #4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were #2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're gonna get when you become #4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountains. Good afternoon in the central. Good afternoon on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, Emily. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparations perspective, bringing you those Freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. Happy New Year to you one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Yaira, for being on the live. Family, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Yeah, I know it's been a minute since y'all see me. Uh-oh, that's not the one I want to flash. I want to flash a different one. I know it's been a minute, but, you know, I have been trying to cultivate some other broadcasts to bring you on what I've now decided will be named Nirvana World TV, Nirvana's World TV. And I'm going to be bringing you some other things that I like to speak on, you know, not just the reparations fight, but I'm highly spiritual. And I've decided I need to bring more spirituality to the closing of this broadcast. Hi, Bootney. I see you, family. Thank you for joining the live. Happy New Year to you, fam. Yes, I need to spiritualize this experience because you guys know the news concerning American freedmen is so traumatizing that I decided I can't just be on here trauma bonding with you all. Yes, I'm here for the reparations, to keep that front and center. Yes, I'm here to weaponize the vote, socialize the suffering. But I need to be able to count on my spiritual comrades in this fight, because we need something greater than our own might. We need our inner Christ to come together in agreement to defeat the U.S. corporation called our government and their nefarious plans to extinct us. It's bigger than me coming to you on a channel that is shadow banned. So in the end, in addition to giving you a covering in terms of how I generally do when I close out the broadcast, I need my spiritual warriors in this line and on this broadcast to do an exercise with me that has helped to rid my experience of a bunch of garbage, worldly garbage that is, and has enhanced my life's journey through manifestation. I'm a metaphysician. My new broadcast will be called Metaphysically Speaking. And so I do hope you join me over at Nirvana's World TV for that. That's in the midst of being created. And I'll constantly be sharing about that broadcast and that channel as I bring you the current events that I weaponize so that we can wake up completely. Lots of us have awakened. And as one of my comrades just recently reminded me on one of my meetings, one of my task force meetings, that we're winning. We're winning, even though you can't judge this thing by appearances. But you do have to be mindful of what's happening so that you can learn how you need to ebb and flow for the sake of yourself, your whole entire line. The ancestors. I mean, we have a lot of work to do here, family. And like I said, it's greater than just echoing what's the traumas that are being assailed at us from all groups. I mean, we're dealing with Crayola white supremacists. We're dealing with traitors amongst us. Hi, Stephanie Bozeman. I see you, family. Thank you for joining the line. We're dealing with far more than I just don't want to be over here trauma bonding with you. So we're going to do an exercise. And for those of you that stand in agreement with me to do the exercise, we're going to do it till we break the back of this thing in the spirit and in truth, because that's how our ancestors got emancipation. They stood in the gap. They stood on their spirituality and their understanding of their inner Christ to break the cycle of slavery. And we have to finish that work, because the sad truth of the matter is that we're still enslaved. It looks a little different. You now get to have, some of us, far too many of us are losing their homes, losing their jobs, losing a way to take care of their families. These are the things that the corporate with 3Ks lamestream media is not going to report to you about. You see, they want us to sit quietly in the gas chambers and on the front lines of the guillotine and just not take issue with their nefarious plans to ethno-genocide us. But this is happening in real time. So that's why we have the reparationist perspective. And shout out to all of you who have blessed the broadcast. My word, I just can't thank you enough. I need to name a couple of people because, these people are doing it consistently. And just like when they don't see me, they let me know, we miss you. And we don't really understand why you're not here. And so, listen, there are quite a couple of little things that happen that let me know that I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right thing with my voice and my gift, because y'all know I was born to talk. Shout out to Saquon Gorman. Oh, I hope it's okay for me to say your names. I didn't ask permission. I'll just give first names, okay? And he blessed my Cash App, and he says, there's been no live in a while. I really hope to see you soon. So Saquon said, I'm going to pay to make sure she comes back and doesn't abandon us over here. So thank you, Saquon. I also want to thank Rasan Philip Sorlis. Oh, I said I wasn't going to do the whole name. This is Katira and this is Teddy's father. Okay, the new Freedmen baby that he is our contemporary. He's the first. Okay, Teddy is the first Freedmen contemporary reparations grassroots movement Freedmen baby to be birthed through a Freedmen union in the contemporary reparations grassroots movement. Now, if some of the rest of you have gotten married and I don't know about it, put it in the chat. Hi, BB, I see you, fam. I'm happy to announce your nuptials. But I remember Rasan meeting Katira at our inaugural conference in our ADOS, the former ADOS movement, our inaugural conference in Kentucky. They married, family. This is what I this is a praise report. Let me put my phone down. This is a praise report for Freedmen Love. Okay, that's what I'm also going to be bringing you over in Nirvana World TV. That's where I'm going to be bringing a lot of things to help us heal and find our way back to each other. But this story is so rich, it's so epic. Katira and Rasan met there. They got married, and they now have a freed baby named Teddy. So thank you, because Rasan, okay, he blesses this app, I guess, whenever Spirit moves on him. And Spirit moves often in that brother to bless the broadcast. So thank you so much for supporting my voice. Yes, Bootney says, congratulations to them. Yes, now, this is the only union I know that have morphed into marriage from the inaugural conference. So if you guys know other freedmen meeting each other, falling in love, and becoming married, and making beautiful freed babies, please, please, please put it in the chat. Let me know. Yes, more freedmen babies. More freedmen babies. That is what I am really championing. And I'm so grateful when it happens. Pay Black Americans. That's right, Stephanie. We're going to get into it. Okay, so let me see who else is in here. JB, I know Yaira has blessed the broadcast. Eric Croxton. Eric has blessed the broadcast. These are just recent ones that I see that I wanted to actually remember to announce on the broadcast, because you deserve that kind of recognition. And I just want to thank you, those I've named, those whom I haven't, for supporting my voice in this space and understanding the importance of the work I do with my voice in this space. And we're going to continue. Like I said, I had to add a spiritualized component, something I've learned as a metaphysician, something I borrowed from one of my spiritual counselors. Shout out to Shavi. Shavi. Shavi, why am I losing your last name? She's an amazing spiritualist. Shavi Zane. Shout out to Shavi Zane. The prayer that I have is to create a vacuum for us to break this cycle of abuse against American freedmen specifically. And that's going to come towards the end of every broadcast. And that's the only way I feel better about reporting on the diabolical news. So we'll be doing that for those of you who choose to stay and help me in that exercise and stand in agreement with me. That will come at the end of the broadcast. And it gives me peace to do it in this way, because this is a way I know as a metaphysician. And I borrowed one of Shavi Zane's prayers. So let's get into it, family. So once again, family, we're dealing with this immigration piece. Now, I know that many of you were upset with me, not my people that roll with me. You understand how I was really annoyed with Hakeem Jeffries and him being Pelosi's boy and pretty much legislating us up out of New York. You know, folks get it twisted. They think that just because you are Black, you are freedmen, that you're necessarily for our people. That's not necessarily true. And I can say this, especially for the CBC and people that are our elected officials. They are not working on behalf of American freedmen. You must know that these people only look like us. They are not there to help us. So Hakeem Jeffries, he's now, I guess, the minority. Let's see here. Hold on one second. Hakeem Jeffries makes history as the first Black lawmaker to lead a party in Congress. So this is CNN. Let me share this with you. And people wanted to come for me, not the folks that understand where I'm coming from, but yeah, they don't like this idea that I'm exposing the Crayola white supremacists that are representing us, and how their whole entire thing, and this has been years in the making. I would say back even prior to Barack Obama, but that's when things went into full court press. Barack Obama was very instrumental in making sure, or trying to ensure, you see, this is why we need to call on our spirits, our spiritual team, our ancestors. We need to call on them to help us defeat these nefarious plans of the government. We're outmoneyed and we're outgunned and we're outnumbered. So we have to go back to the basics of relying on our inner Christ, inner Buddha, whatever you want to call it, to defeat the likes of these people that are now in control and are intentionally neglecting American freedmen. So let me pull this up, and we're going to talk about this man here, Hakeem Jeffries, since folks want to act like this symbolic kind of nonsense is actually benefiting us. I'm here to show you, better than I can tell you, how it's not. You know, I'm from the Show Me State. I'm sure many of you are from the Show Me State. So let me show you. Okay. So I'm going to leave that up. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Yeah. Okay. You can see the headline. Great. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to read it from another link. So let's go down. Hakeem Jeffries made history as the first Black lawmaker to lead a party in Congress, addressing the 118th Congress for the first time in the early hours of Saturday morning. Let me stop here and give you the thoughts as the Spirit gives it to me. So basically, Hakeem Jeffries was Pelosi's pick. You have to understand, family. They don't put us in these kinds of positions unless we're willing to sell the collective out. So one of my comrades shared that he's part Portuguese and part American freedman. I really don't know, like for sure what the man is. But what I know is that he's working for Black immigrants in New York in his district. We've been pretty much legislated out of New York. And he's over there being complicit in those nefarious plans. And as I often mention, family, there's nowhere for us to go. We're down from 6.5 million here in the state of California down to around 2 million. And the same thing is happening all over the country, and it's forcing us to go back south. But what difference does it make if you go down south and you still don't have any power? And that's what we have to work on amassing, family. We've got to work on amassing power. As one of my comrades shared in my prior meeting this morning, we have to become legitimate. You must become a 501c3 or C4 and do as these other groups are doing. They learn how to play our politics, and they come over here and they line up for all of our reparations that this country is giving away. 40 going north, okay? 100 going north, rather. We need to learn to become just as savvy, because they are literally making sure that we can't become gainfully employed. And if we are, they want us to work ourselves to death by paying this underemployment, these low wages. It is out of control what's happening in the market right now. And it's happening to us at every level, from low skilled all the way through, executive level management. So understand that the majority of the people in office are complicit in these nefarious plans to ethno-genocide us. But like I said, I'm excited because I've got a way to close the broadcast to get us in agreement to defeat their plans in the spirit, okay? Back to the text. As John Lewis would sometimes remind us on this floor, we may have come over on different ships, but we're all the same boat now, Jeffrey said, referencing the late civil rights legend and longtime congressman. We are white, we are Black, we are Latina, we are Asian, we are Native American, we are Christian, we are Jewish, we are Muslim, we are Hindu, we are religious, we are secular, we are gay, we are straight, we are young, we are older, we are women, we are men, we are citizens, we are dreamers, he continued. Out of many, we are one. That's what makes America a great country. And no matter what kind of haters are trying to divide us, We're not going to let anyone take that away from us, not now, not ever. Now, what he failed to say in all of this flatness of immigrants and whites and religions is we are American freedmen, descendant of U.S. chattel slavery, whose ancestors built this country with their lives. And folks want to argue me down that he supports reparations vis-a-vis H.R. 40. We know that H.R. 40 is a futile exercise, an exercise in futility, right? We know that they're talking about an H.R. 40 that's cashless. How do you do reparations with no cash? We also know that they want to do it for all Blacks, which we know is going to fail epically at the conservative Supreme Court level, right? The minute a white or an immigrant decides to challenge it based on race, we will not be seeing it. Okay? So this is problematic, and this is problematic with more than just him. I am not anti-immigrant. I've said it a million times if I've said it once. I'm anti the weaponization of immigration against American freedmen to keep us a permanent bottom caste in the country our ancestors built with their lives. What does that mean? Thank you. I'm glad you asked. This means that no one should come before the reparations in the quadrillions over several lifetimes for American freedmen. No one. We should not be, locking American freedmen out of jobs, out of an American salary, out of access to clean water, out of clean communities, clean housing, business loans, home loans. These should be grants. They should be given to American freedmen, right? And all I can think about and reflect on is how this country chose to give our reparations to our slave owners. Britain did the same thing. If I got time, I'll get into that today. But that's who's gotten the reparations. And now Afghanistan got the reparations. Ukraine is getting the reparations. The refugees are getting the reparations. The immigrants are getting the reparations. And we keep showing up voting blue no matter damn who, to our own people's peril. And then you get folks like Hakeem Jeffries, who wants to step in here and Martin Luther King Jr. us without making us American. I don't have anything against Martin Luther King Jr., but you don't go from zero to the rainbow, and just miss everything in between. We don't just get to lock arms and ride off into the sunset of kumbaya before you make American freedmen whole. And the only way to do that is to stop giving away our reparations and protections to white folks and immigrants and LGBTQIA, and transgenders and this, that, And that's all they're doing. That's all they're freaking doing in order to intentionally neglect American freedmen. Miseducate you, have you believing that they support reparation vis-a-vis an H.R. 40 to get you sheepwalking to the polls. That's what they're doing. Let me read y'all something, because of course they blow up my phone, and I'm sure they're blowing up your phone and your emails too. And I wrote this in Twitter, that we all need to be on this. When they send you those requests for money, I need all the comrades to do this call to action. While it's on my mind, I let Spirit lead me in the conversation. So let me get to it and read to you, exactly what I shared in Twitter, and I addressed Hakeem. Okay? I addressed him because I'm sick and tired of them always blowing up my phone and my email because they want my money while not paying me my reparations. Me nor my line, the reparations we are long overdue. So I wanted to read this to you, and you can type it down when it's more convenient, and you can retweet, email, and do the same, okay? So this is what I said. I'm looking it up, family. I see part 2 of it. Yeah, see, here they are fighting me, talking about what they've done and this, that, and the third. So this is what I wrote. Let me get to it. We need to actively respond to every Democrat demand for money, as I just responded to at Hakeem Jeffries' team. Until you support cash federal reparations for American freedmen who descend from U.S. chattel slavery in the quadrillions over several lifetimes for our never-ending Holocaust, do not count on me for a dime of support. Not the empty HR 40 that you use as a tool to keep us sheep walking to the polls. I'm speaking of cash. You know what white folks killed and stole from my lineage after our ancestors built this country with their lives. This is the kind of activism that is available to each and every one of us. If you've got Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, if you've got Facebook, ScrewTube, you can do this kind of advocacy right from your own comfort of your laptop and your cell phone. That's a call to action. When you get those type of, they're incessant. You get those type of phone calls and texts and emails, respond in kind. You can rewind the broadcast and type it out, okay? Because I got to keep going. I got a lot to cover today. This is back to the text. This is CNN Politics I'm reading from. This is the United States of America, a land of opportunity. The fact that I'm able to stand up here today is another data point in that narrative. Me speaking. This is how they get our people sheep walking to the polls on symbolism. I have shared with you the people that are thriving in Hakeem Jeffries' district is not American freedmen. They call themselves Black American. They call themselves Caribbean American. But this is what he did with Barack Obama. Let's get into it. Stand by. I'm reading from this was in November 25th, 2014. I think this is a page from, let's see here, newsletter, sign up. Some type of Congress newsletter I'm reading from. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, New York 8, okay? This is his page. Let me read you what happened. Now, this is back in 2014. This is, like I'm saying to you, I'm edutating you on the fact that their nefarious plans, their nefarious ethno-genocidal plans date way back prior to our current administration. This goes back to Obama. Let's read it. Let me share this because I'm pretty much done with that other article. It's BS anyway. I want to move on. Hold on one second. Let me come over here and share. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you for joining the live. Okay, so I'm going to stop this one and I'm going to share this bullshit because it needs to be memorialized here. Make sure y'all can see this. Stand by. Okay, it's over there. I don't want to make myself too small. Okay, so let me go back over here and I'm going to bring this article up in a separate feed. But this is to my point about more of what they're doing to erase and replace us. And then they want to tell you that you're a xenophobe because you call it out. I can't tell you how many folks I've got to cancel nowadays because they keep trying to make this about xenophobia, basically because they don't want me talking about these issues. They want us, like I said, to die on the vine silently and let them do as they've been intending for a long while now. Representatives Hakeem Jeffries, New York District 8, and Yvette Clark, New York District 9. Listen to this. both co-chairs of the Congressional Black Caucus Immigration Reform Task Force. So for those of you who think that they named their task force after ours, based on the date of this particular slide that I'm showing you, that I do believe is from Hakeem Jeffries' website, his webpage. This is what they called it back in 2014. So they couldn't have copied off of the California Reparations Task Force. Just for clarification, if the date on here is true and correct and accurate, which I believe it is, they did not steal task force from the California Reparations Task Force. Okay, I want to clear that up. But basically, they're co-chairs of the CBC Immigration Reform Task Force. Now, that's a hit and a half for your ass as to who he represents. Because reparations and immigration are diametrically opposed, family. You can't be for both. Why? Thank you for asking. Because you need a way to fund immigration. And the way this country has chosen to do that is with our reparations. So don't believe folks who are sitting up here pretending to be for reparations and for immigration. No. Because everything you're doing is legislatively to give them a hand up over us and to give them protections while you do it. They held a press conference on Friday at the Shirley Chisholm State Office building to convey words of support and praise for the executive order passed by President Obama on Thursday that will now allow millions of immigrants living illegally in the U.S. to apply for what? Work permits. But y'all coming for me because I oppose Hakeem Jeffries, and I'm sitting up here telling you how you ain't winning with him at the helm. It's more Crayola white supremacists who are complicit in the ethno-genocidal plans to erase and replace American freedmen. With the help of your first president, although I did vote for him for 2 terms, I forgive myself daily for that. That's how much work it takes. Okay. President Barack Obama, who was a no to our reparations, passed an executive order to allow millions of immigrants living illegally in the U.S. to apply for work permits. Under the president's new reform plan, as many as 3 to 3 point... Lord, give me my glasses. I don't know how you do a 3.7 undocumented parents. I don't know what that means. That sounds crazy to me. But maybe I need my spectacles. Under the 3.7. Under the president's new reform plan, as many as 3.7 undocumented parents who have lived in the U.S. for 5 years with children who are U.S. citizens or legal residents now can apply for work permits, which last 3 years. Where can American freedmen go in the known world and get this done by executive order for us? Where? I'll wait. Put it in the chat. I'll be able to read your comments after I'm done. How much time I got? Oh, I started at 1:15. I've got at least till 2:15 to do my segment. Let me move on and not belabor because I use the last portion to read your comments as my co-host. Okay, so where can we go and get this kind of consideration? Where can American freedmen go in the world? And this is why you've got to legitimize yourself, as my comrade shared in my task force meeting. You've got to legitimize yourself and you've got to fight because we are losing, being distracted by the NFL. I got something to share on that too. Anyway, let's go back. Another part of the package will extend a program that gives temporary legal status to undocumented residents who arrived in the U.S. before 2010, potentially extending the program to another 300,000 people. Now, Obama said he had grown weary of trying to convince Congress to engage in a serious discussion on immigration reform, so he bypassed the legislature with a new plan that will allow illegal immigrants to come out of the shadows and get right with the law. He didn't grow weary of trying to convince Congress to engage in reparations, family, because he ain't one of us. We have yet to have a real black president in this country. And I don't just mean American freedmen. I mean an American freedman president, male or female, who is on code, who speaks for the soil, who reps the soil, who is grassroots. Until we have that, we have not had a black, well, that's all we've had, is a flat black president who descends on his white mama's side from slave owners and on his black daddy's side, African, Kenyan. He went hard to pay for immigrants, not American freedmen. The executive order will impact thousands of New York City residents who trace their roots to English-speaking and French-speaking Caribbean nations such as Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and Haiti, as well as nations such as Guyana. Why should they be given precedence over those of us who descend from U.S. chattel slavery? Hakeem Jeffries. And to those of you who don't understand why I take issue with him and the likes of him, the likes of his ilk. This ain't a black and white thing. This ain't a party thing. It's a freedman flourishing thing over here for me. I don't give a damn what color you are. If you're about closing them damn borders and citizens first, that means me in my line. And that's the way I'm voting henceforth until the Democrats are begging me to cut my check. New York is a place where people have come from all across the world in pursuit of the American dream, an American dream that's not been afforded to American freedmen, descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, mind you. They are here to erase and replace us, and then want to call me xenophobe for calling it out. These immigrants have helped make New York City the greatest city in the world. No, that was after our ancestors. Okay? Built New York with their lives. Let's talk about who built the wealth. These black immigrants, Hispanic immigrants, the immigrants by and large, and the white folks eat from. Let's talk about who did it and was forced to do it for free, even in New York. The U.S. North is often portrayed as a safe haven for enslaved Southerners, when in reality, New York did not abolish slavery fully until 1827, only 34 years before the Civil War began. Within their homes, New York's enslavers restricted the people they enslaved to back rooms, cellars, attics, and garret space. The forgotten history of slavery in New York, while Hakeem and Barack and this other woman fight for black immigrants. When discussing slavery in Dutch New York, I'm often asked why so little of this history is taught in schools or at historic sites. Most Americans know very little about U.S. slavery, or that it extended far beyond the southern cotton plantations, including in California, as niggering people sit up here and want to argue that slavery didn't exist out here. The U.S. North is often portrayed as a safe haven for enslaved Southerners, when in reality, New York did not abolish slavery fully until 1827, only 34 years before the Civil War began. But you got people like Hakeem Jeffries, okay, who want to sit up here and act like immigrants built up New York. This is happening all over the country. where they are erasing and editing and co-opting our history. And they are weaponizing our never-ending Holocaust for the come-up. Within their homes, New York's enslavers restricted the people they enslaved to backroom. Okay, I did that part. While there are concerted efforts by, among others, slavers of New York, historic sites like Phillipsburg Manor and the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to bring more attention to this history, New York's slavery past is still relatively unknown. Dutch slavery in New York began not long after the first Africans were brought to Virginia in 1619. As early as 1628, the Dutch West India Company put enslaved Africans to work in its colony of New Netherland, some of them laboring in chain gangs. In 1664, the Dutch lost the colony to the English, but that was not the end of slavery or Dutch slaveholding in the region. In fact, the number of individuals who relied on the labor of enslaved peoples increased during the 18th century. With this expansion of slavery came more emphasis on limiting the movements and activities of enslaved New Yorkers. Through legislation, white New Yorkers prohibited enslaved people to trade, travel, or purchase alcohol without permission within their homes. New York's enslavers restricted the people they enslaved to back rooms, cellar, attics, and garret spaces. In all of these spaces, enslavers used systems of control necessary to hold people in bondage. But Joe Crow even gives the immigrants credits for building this country. Just rewind back to the top of the broadcast. You'll hear him do it when he pivots on the question of reparations for American freedmen and talks about how we've got to do everything in our power to make sure Hispanics thrive in the country our ancestors built with their lives. But this is who 86% of our electorate showed up to the polls to vote for. Not more. And won't be in 24. That bitch of a ballot is going to bleed red. As elsewhere, racist ideologies proved integral to sustaining racial slavery. One document reveals the deep-seated racism of a Kings County, now Brooklyn community, when in 1788, Dutch Reformed Church minister Peter Lowe, wow, that's my sister's husband's last name. Wow. Received a request from a group of black men who want, and they're from the islands, a request from a group of black men, his parents are anyway, who wanted to become full members in this church. Congregants objected to admitting the men because they claimed, among others, black people, quote, have no souls. They are descendants from Ham or the treacherous Gibeonites. And they are a species very different from us. Witness their nauseous sweat, complexion, and manner, and see, I don't know what that means. That's a typo, not me. I cannot endure them near me. I would be ashamed to commune with them. At the time of their objections, close to 75% of the free white Kings County families enslaved people within their home. Close to 75% of the free white Kings County families enslaved people within their home. Enslaved New Yorkers resisted their bondage through everyday resistance and outright rebellion. Enslaved men, women, and children found ways to escape surveillance and control in private and public spaces by developing alternative ways of knowing and navigating these spaces. Many fled the homes in which they were enslaved, and some of them revolted, as was the case when in 1712, enslaved New Yorkers killed 9 white residents of the city of New York. This last paragraph, and then I'm going to jump to Seneca Village. Recent challenges to teaching U.S. slavery threaten attempts to bring this history to the wider public. Such opposition has been especially evident in the pushback against the New York Times Magazine 1619 project developed by Nicole Hannah-Jones. Since its publication 2 years ago, the 1619 project has been widely celebrated and extensively criticized. In some cases, it has become a target of Republican lawmakers like Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, who have embraced opposition to critical race theory and the teaching of America's difficult histories. Yet the history of U.S. slavery is still not well understood by most Americans, perhaps it is because much of the history remains unknown that such opposition to teaching it has been so effective. Let's go to the next. If you just got here, I'm speaking on what's problematic about Black folks, especially American freedmen, heralding Hakeem Jeffries and celebrating as if we finally overcame. I'm making the case. Why was Seneca Village destroyed? Let's talk about the history of the story of this. What is the story of the Seneca Village? This is just, I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't have that kind of time. I got 15 minutes on my part. Then we got to come to y'all. Seneca Village began in 1825 when landowners in the area, John and Elizabeth Whitehead, subdivided their land and sold it as 200 lots. Andrew Williams, a 25-year-old African-American shoe shiner, bought the first 3 lots for $125. Before Central Park, oh God. So Central Park, for many of you that just got here and don't know the history, before Central Park, I want to share with you a little bit about the story of Seneca Village. Before Central Park was created, the landscape along what is now the park's perimeter from West 82nd to West 89th Street was a site of Seneca Village, a community of predominantly African Americans, many of whom own property. By 1855, the village consisted of approximately 225 residents, made up of roughly 2/3 African Americans, 1/3 Irish immigrants, and a small number of individuals of German descent. One of few African American enclaves at the time, Seneca Village allowed residents to live away from the more built-up sections of downtown Manhattan and escape the unhealthy conditions and racial discrimination they faced there. Seneca Village began in 1825 when landowners in the area, John and Elizabeth Whitehead, subdivided their land and sold it as 200 lots. Andrew Williams, a 25-year-old African-American shoe shiner, bought the first 3 lots for $125. Epiphany Davis, a store clerk, bought 12 lots for $578, and the AME Zion Church purchased another 6 lots. From there, a community was born. From 1825 to 1832, the Whiteheads sold about half of their land parcels to other African Americans. By the early 1830s, there was approximately 10 homes in the village. There is some evidence that residents had gardens and raised livestock in Seneca Village, and the nearby Hudson River was a likely source of fishing for the community. A nearby spring known as Tanner Spring provided a water source. By the mid-1850s, Seneca Village comprised 50 homes and 3 churches, as well as burial grounds and a school for African American students. For African Americans, Seneca Village offered the opportunity to live. Now, this is post-slavery in New York. While Hakeem Jeffries and Joe Crow give credit to immigrants for building up the country and New York State. They did to this particular section what they've done to everything we've built, destroyed it. Despite New York State's abolition of slavery in 1827, let me go back. For African Americans, Seneca Village offered the opportunity to live in an autonomous community far from the densely populated downtown. Despite New York State's abolition of slavery in 1827, discrimination was still prevalent throughout New York City and severely limited the lives of African Americans. Seneca Village's remote location likely provided a refuge from this climate. It also would have provided an escape from the unhealthy and crowded conditions of the city and access to more space both inside and outside the home. Compared to other African Americans living in New York, Residents of Seneca Village seem to have been more stable and prosperous by 1855. Approximately half of them owned their own homes. With property ownership came other rights not commonly held by African Americans in the city, namely the right to vote In 1821, New York State required African American men to own at least $250 in property and hold residency for at least 3 years to be able to vote. But me speaking, instead of weaponizing the vote, socializing the suffering, knowing that when the Democrats have a trifecta, American freedmen are the only ones in distress, far too many American freedmen choose to withhold the vote. Not weaponize it to save the people. Because God forbid you go out here and vote for a repugnant Klan. Even though predominantly they're for closing these borders. I don't think I'm going to get to that news story today, but I'll be back. Of the 100 Black New Yorkers eligible to vote in 1845, 10 of them lived in Seneca Village. The fact, I'm going to close with this particular story and come read your comments, and we can pick up the rest. Oh, God, it's so much good, rich stuff. I'm going to try to do it tomorrow. The fact that many residents were property owners contradicts some common misperceptions during the mid-19th century that the people living on the land slated for the park were poor squatters living in shanties. While some residents lived in shanties and in crowded conditions, most lived in two-story homes. Census records show that residents were employed, with African Americans typically employed as laborers and in service jobs, the main options for them at the time. Records also show that most children who lived in Seneca Village attended school. Well, most of those kinds of jobs they're giving to immigrants and driving down the salaries, and they're farming out of the country and bringing in AI and immigrants. Let's talk about the creation of Central Park before I come read your comments. During the early 1850s, the city began planning for a large municipal park to counter unhealthful urban conditions and provide a space for recreation. In 1853, the New York State Legislature enacted a law that set aside 775 acres of land in Manhattan. As usual, right through where we were living in Seneca Village, that was from 59th to 106th Streets, between 5th and 8th Avenues, to create the country's first major landscape public park. But have they yet to pay a dime of reparations to the people they misplaced, to their descendants? Has Hakeem Jeffries fought for that? The city acquired the land through eminent domain, the same way they did with Bruce's Beach. And now the Bruce family just sold it back to the city for $20 million. And folks take issue with it when they don't know the backstory. How you going to take issues with what people choose to do with their reparations? Who are you? These are the white racist, wanton white supremacist, Crayola supremacist talking points folks like to use to try to justify why we don't need to have our reparations. I saw someone in the New Black Media beg the question, are we ready for reparations? Because the Bruce family chose to sell the property for $20 million after 100 years of having nothing. That's our problem. Why are we pocket watching what other folks choose to do with their reparations? That's not your monkey, not your circus. You have no idea what they probably had to go through just to reach that decision. Because more than likely, if they're like 90% of those of us who descend from U.S. chattel slavery, they need that Skrilla now. And that was probably the best way to capitalize on the moment. But instead, we sit back and pocket watch and blame them for selling. It takes money to be a property owner. Many of us cannot even borrow against the equity in our homes because we're not bringing in $100K a year. You either have to lie on your taxes or go out here and make $100K a year. And who is granting American freedmen those jobs? You've got to create those type of opportunities. But you want to sit in judgment because the Bruce family chose to sell their property for $20 million after 100 years of eminent domain. Most of the time, in the very beginning, they hadn't even done crap with the property. They just took it by eminent domain the way they do everything we possess. The city acquired the land through eminent domain, the law that allows the government to take private land for public use with compensation paid to the landowner. This was a common practice in the 19th century. Of course it was, especially wherever American freedmen had ownership. It had been used to build Manhattan's grid of streets decades earlier. There were roughly 1,600 inhabitants displaced throughout the area. Although landowners were compensated, many argued that their land was undervalued. Of course it was. Look at what's happening in the real estate market to this day. Black folks literally have to enlist white friends to get the right value about their properties. Ultimately, even the Bruce family, me speaking, was paid, I think, something extremely nominal, like $2,000. It's criminal. Ultimately, all residents had to leave by the end of 1857. Research is underway to determine where Seneca Village residents relocated. Some may have gone to other African-American communities in the region, such as Sandy Ground in Staten Island and Skunk Hollow in New Jersey. I only have 2 tiny paragraphs. Might as well finish. Although we have limited knowledge of what life was like in Seneca Village, there's been ongoing work to learn more about its residents and their lives. In 2011, archaeologists from Columbia University and the City University of New York conducted a dig of the site. They uncovered artifacts such as iron tea kettle, a roasting pan, a stoneware beer bottle, fragments of Chinese export porcelain, and a small shoe with a leather sole and fabric upper. These items have helped us piece together what life was like for the village residents. Despite its short history of only 32 years, Seneca Village is understood as a tight-knit community that served as a stabilizing and empowering force in uncertain times. Learn more about the history of Seneca Village's property owners and what New York City was like at this time here. And I'm reading from centralparknyc.org/articles/Seneca-Village. Let me see what you have to say about it before I pray us out. Welcome to the live, family. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Happy New Year, family. Thank you, Yaira. Welcome back, Sister Nirvana. Thank you. Okay, so it looks like, Bootney's got some great news to share. Okay, so Bootney and his wife, woohoo! They're buying their first home in Georgia. Congratulations, fam. He says we are definitely excited. Also, we close soon. Then it's a done deal. Owning land has always been one of my goals. Yes, indeed, family. Hi, Insane Optimist. Congratulations, Bootney. Hello. Expose him in all of his wickedness. Yes, Insane Optimist. He's referring to Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah. We have no friends, family. Oh my God. BB says, unfortunately, his uncle is leader of the delusional Pan-Africanists. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, ugh. Well, there it goes why he could care less about American freedmen. BIPOC talk. Yes, that's an illusion and confusion. Yaira says, I voted for Barack Obama. The first term. I am still mad about it. Honey, he got me for 2 terms. No, these sheeple got me for 2 terms because they kept insisting that he had not had enough time in office to undo all of what Bush had done. That's how they got me. Obama is biracial. He is not black. Well, you know, the one drop blood thing that they like to do. This is how everybody will be lined up for our reparations if we don't put up a secure enough gate. I'm with Sandy Darity in as much as that is concerned, that they have to have had to have identified as black or African American the last 2 censuses, and they have to show proof of a birth cert that says Negro or mulatto or colored. I don't even know about that mulatto part. I don't know what that means exactly, but let me just say Negro or colored. That goes back to at least your great grandparents. Okay. White women cannot have black children. White men cannot have black children. I heard that, Bootney. In theory, you're absolutely correct. To be black, one needs to have 2 black parents. Go for it, Bootney. 100. I feel you, fam. Immigrants did not make New York great. Come on. Black Americans did. Even greater, let's unflatten that. American freedmen did. That xenophobic response is a distraction, retaliation of a lie. Oh, they love to default to that, family. This is the way to silence us and to not have us talk about how damning immigration is to American freedmen. They don't want us talking about it. New Yorker, Dutch American, African sojourner Truth sued her owner for illegally selling her son 20 miles from New York City. Wow, I didn't know that. Hakeem Sekou Jeffries equals shoo clown. Is that a shoe? I don't know what that means, Shaira. Many of our people are plagued with shame and denial, not wanting to confront the ugly truth, our enslavement and brutal, torturous lives, 1650 to 1976. First of all, BB, it's never ending. It's still going on to this day, okay? It's still going on to this day. It did not end in 1976. It's present day. And secondly, this is the way they want it. They want us so ashamed of our past that we don't talk about it. They want us so ashamed to even be fighting for reparations and protections. But there's no shame in it for those of us who know that we've been assigned to go out here and get it done for the people. I have no shame in it. I'm proud of it. I am amazed at what our ancestors endured so that I could be here, so that you could be here. Okay? That's not for the weak at heart, what they had to undergo to make sure you and I have breath. And their living nor executions will be in vain. Okay? Hi, great XOXO. Happy New Year's. Reparations now. They're saying California is underwater. They can't pay reparations. $2 trillion underwater in California. Since when? Child, please. This country prints money. I don't want to hear any excuses when it comes to paying us the reparations we are owed. Every time the government needs money, they just go off and print it. So they can do the same where our reparations is concerned. Since they're giving it away 100 going north. Angela said, where's the Skrilla? That's right, baby. Oh. I saw this Yaira speaking. I saw the Are We Ready for Reparations? Most of them were not mad about it when calling in, LOL. Yeah, I'm curious as to what happened. I need to go over there and listen to it, but I didn't want to get mad because I don't. What two YouTubers she's speaking of? I ain't gonna call no names because there's enough slinging mud at all the grifters out here that I don't even need to get. I don't even need to have that fight. They can have that while I continue to get the work in. Hi, 3 Carl, 3 Michael, 3. Welcome to the live, family. He says, speak the proper truth, sister, speak it. Thank you, fam. Try being a property owner out here in California. Honey, please. It's a fight to hang on to your property the way they don't employ us and pay us the 6 figures we're long overdue. Hi, Q-Lane. And I think that Bruce family sold a portion of the land back to the state. Yes, they sure did. I thought they sold it all, but whatever, it's their reparations. I don't know why that matters to any of us, what they choose to do after 100 years of being deprived of that money. We can't speak on it. Bobby Jefferson, welcome to the live. 0 friends, you know it. Somali against Pan-Africanism. Hakeem Jeffries is a bum. I just needed y'all to understand that having a black face in a high place don't mean much for American freedmen. Y'all better snap out of that. Not y'all. Y'all are some, the people, especially over here. Y'all are some of the most educated I know. I'm just trying to speak long enough to not be speaking in a vacuum under shadow ban. So y'all need to share this with people who don't get it yet, okay? Somali says, I supported Obama twice, shaking my head. I was so wrong about him. Family, far too many of us were. But we wokes now. We wokes now, okay? Let's just move from the present. Bruce family only sold a portion of that land back to the state. Well, that's good to know. I'm going to have to look it up and bring it to you maybe tomorrow. I've got so much to bring you because I've been away for about a week after I promised I'd be back. Child, I got to get my own Freedmen life and affairs in order. This takes a lot of energy, okay? Because I got to find the articles and, comb through a bunch of them. And I've got to allow the ancestors to use me in the space when I'm over here because they've got things they want to impart. And I let them use me. And it takes me off course. And I try not to be here more than 2 hours. And I need to hear what the co-host has to say. So it's a lot involved. So I got to make sure my family's good too. My daughter is relying on me and me alone. She's 18 now. No more child support. That means it's all on mama. So if y'all don't see me, I'm taking care of my Freedmen life, okay? That's why I'm coming up with Nirvana World TV, speaking more to the masses, That's going to be metaphysically speaking. If you guys want to join me over there, I should be there tomorrow. I have to create everything tonight and get that ready to go, get my notes ready, because we got to go in metaphysically. We've got to go in spiritually and heal so that we can be ready for the reparations that are about to flow. Oh, we're going to get reparations, okay? And we're going to do a lot of that work over here and in the metaphysically speaking space to bring that into manifestation because we've got that power. As the image likeness of God, you've got mastery, power, dominion, and authority over everything. These religiosity kind of organizations haven't told you that the Christ is within you. You and the Father are as much one as Jesus and the Father. Yeshua, okay? So I want to dig into more of that kind of stuff because we need that right now. When you're outmoneyed and you're outmanned and you're outgunned, you need to go within, which is the only way to really get a lot of this stuff accomplished. So that's what we're going to be doing over at Nirvana World TV. It is very little bit of it will happen at the end of all these broadcasts, but it will start to be interjected over here starting with today, okay? Because I can't do this kind of work and just be angry. I refuse to be over here trauma bonding with you. So I'm going to leverage you, not weaponize you, but leverage you in helping me to break this cycle of abuse by the U.S. corporation called the government and all its factions. Okay, so we'll get into it. I am surprised, y'all. Hi, The Rock. Happy New Year, fam. I am surprised y'all was fooled by Obama the first time. I saw right through that ninja. Fam. This was before I was educated, okay? Please forgive me. It took 2 terms of that ninja for me to finally understand who the hell he was, okay? And yeah, I didn't know. And that was a problem with many of us. We were so excited to see a black face in a high place like the president. We really believed, well, let me speak for myself. I believed that he was going to be the solution to our reparations. I believed that we were finally going to flourish. Okay. I had no clue he was there to run interference for white folks. And this is why I tell y'all often, when the Democrats love it, we need to run the opposite direction. When they despise it, we need to run to it. That's when I learned that. Because when white folks got behind Barack Obama, that was a hint and a half for our asses that we needed to vote his opposition on both occasions. So now I know. And once you know, you can't not know, right? So now we have to do the right thing. Vote closed border and citizenship first candidates only, party be damned, to neutralize our most imminent threat and replacement immigration. Because if we don't, it's a wrap. Now, I do want to talk about how my Freedmen protest voter strategy actually worked during the midterms. Yes! We went from 8% for the repugnant clans to 14%. Once again, both parties suck. This ain't a party thing. It's a Freedmen flourishing thing, okay? Don't get it mixed up. Don't get it twisted, all right? It increased from 8% to 14%. I'm at 228. Let me read it. I got to read it. Young Black Americans are turning to the GOP, which needs them to survive. Now, what that means is that they need us to survive, right? But they don't have to give us anything until they see that we can help them be accomplished. That's what they're doing for the Hispanics. Their vote was split down the middle. Let's read it. I'm reading from the New York Post, January 7th this year. Among the key headlines from the 22 midterm election were gains by repugnant clans among minority voters. According to the AP VoteCast survey, GOP House candidates got 14% of the Black vote. Almost twice the 8% of the Black vote repugnant clans captured in 2020 and 2018. And then we got Kevin McCarthy, who's MAGA. Okay. Now I know you're like, why are you excited over MAGA? Well, MAGA is Trump. Trump closed these borders. He had better control over the borders than Joe Crow. And like I told you, our most imminent threat and replacement is immigration. And my Freedmen protest voter strategy is for closed border and citizen first candidates. So yes, Kevin McCarthy is the speaker. And that thrills me. Now, he's going, it was a tug of war. I didn't watch all the bullshiggity go down because, see, I'm not that invested. I'm only invested in as much as you want to close the borders because I understand the imminent threat that is to American freedmen exclusively. So I heard there was a bunch of trial and error to get McCarthy to be the House Speaker, but I don't give a damn about all that. What I care about is he's got the rhinos that really were running interference. That's why I didn't go as smoothly, I suppose. That's establishment. Okay? The rhinos are the establishment arm of the repugnant clans, and the MAGA is more like the Tea Party side. So they're split down the middle, and that's why they need us. And I told you this on previous broadcasts, family. And Now that we got our numbers almost doubled, it's only 14%. We can take this into meetings with the opposition to get some real tangibles flowing for American freedmen. Fuck the DNC. Fuck the Democrats. They got nothing but lies for you. Start courting with the folks that are looking to close these borders. So anyway, back to the text. The difference between the percentage of black votes that Democrats got compared with Republicans was 68 points versus a difference of 83 points in 2020 election and 82 points in 2018. Did you hear it? Yes, I'm happy. I've been wondering all this time if it worked. It's working. Whether they saw my broadcast or someone shared my broadcast or someone shared my strategy, or it's just a collective consciousness around we are sick and tired of being sick and tired of these Democrats. Well done, black voters. I feel like going on. Do you hear me? This is rich. It's epic. And I'm going to continue my Freedmen protest voter strategy. And I'm going to weaponize this to have conversations with the God. Yes, I am. I can't wait to go get us some tangibles right now. If we wait on reparations, there'll be 5 of us receiving it. We got work to do right now. I'm so excited. So let's lean in, family, with this message. Let's lean in with my Freedmen protest voter strategy. Make my videos go viral. Help us increase this until we break the back of the Democrats for their intentional neglect of American freedmen. Their ethno-genocidal plans to erase and replace us with our own damn vote. Lean in. I know I am. I'm ecstatic. Oh my God. The Republican Party is most aggressively taking root among younger black voters. That's where I need to be. Let me learn how to use this darn TikTok and speak to the young people. For Pew Research, 28% of black Republicans are ages 18 to 29, compared with 17% of black Democrats and 10% of white Republicans. 28% of the black Republicans are between 18 to 29. Oh, the children shall deliver them. I am so ecstatic. That deserves a sip of water. Now I know where I need to steer my conversations. I need to get the youth over in this piece. That's my baby's peer group. She's 18. My own sense is that younger blacks are less inclined to think of themselves primarily by race and less inclined to think of their future in terms of racial group identity politics. A lot of these extra words are mine, okay? Y'all should know me by now. Pew Research data shows 8% of black Republicans say that their race is an extremely or very important aspect of their personal identity. This compared with 82% of black Democrats and 21% of black Republicans, compared with 6% of black Democrats say their race is of little or no importance to their personal identity. Also worth noting is that 50% of black Republicans live in lower income households. Ooh-wee! Okay, my comrades in California on my task force, they just told us who we are to target out here. 50% of black Republicans live in lower income households. This is all right. That's my square. Those are my people. They are confirming for me, affirming for me where I need to target my energy. This is epic and this is rich. Yaira, I hope you're taking notes. So in general, black Republicans tend to be younger and poorer. This makes sense. These younger Black Americans are thinking about their future and have a sense of realism that their future is about their own efforts as opposed to racially driven government programs, because it's not worked. The only way it has worked, family, is to take our reparations, take our affirmative action, take our civil rights, and allow whites and immigrants to weaponize it against us during our never-ending Holocaust for their own comeuppance. Per Pew, 45% of Black Republicans, in contrast to 21% of Black Democrats, say that the future of Black Americans depends on their own efforts. No greater truth has been spoken, because they're not being fair. They are using our never-ending Holocaust to lock us out of access to all of it, to render us homeless, all the while naming us the welfare kings and queens. Ooh-wee, this is great information. I gotta save this article, share it with my team. And this is why I got my baby girl majoring in entrepreneurship. This is why. Because the future of Black Americans depends on their own efforts, family. We're done being slaves. That's pretty much what the universe is trying to tell us. And the only people that will thrive and survive it are those who take heed to that warning and that message and get busy. We've got to do akin to what our ancestors did and make something out of nothing. We must pull ourselves up by our bootless straps or we're finished. So now we've got leverage to go and talk to the Republicans about the resources to be in business for ourselves. Come on now. Y'all better read between the tea leaves. About half as many Black Republicans compared with Black Democrats, 44% versus 73%, see racial discrimination as the main barrier to Black progress and achievement. Well, this is where I believe the Black Republicans are in denial. They're in denial about how we're discriminated against in lending, in hiring. Let's not pretend. See, this is where they need my help, to see it plain and to see it clear so they can advocate and fight harder for us on the Republican side. No, we're coming in there with the data to show you that racial discrimination is the main barrier to Black progress and achievement, or we would not be on the bottom in every metric in this country if that were not the case. So change is underway, and this is good news. More in the upcoming generation of Black Americans see themselves as the civil rights movement wanted all Black Americans to be seen as unique individuals. But this change must be greater and faster to slow and stop the leftward movement of this country. I'm going to stop it right there for now because I'm at 2:39 and I want to get us prayed out properly. Welcome to the live, family. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Yes, so back to your point, The Rock. We are awake, and the youth and the children shall deliver us. That's what's happening in that article I just read you. And so now I know where I'm going to be. I'm finding all the young spaces, and I'm pushing my Freedmen protest voter strategy. And I'm going to where the predominant of our people are, in these poor communities, voting Republican to save themselves, instead of showing up like sheeple, voting blue no matter who, to their lineage peril. Smart, smart, smart. My good reparations news. We submitted my maternal second great-grandparents' homestead property stolen by the Alabaster Caves to the org that got Bruce's beach back. We have a consultation soon. You guys need to reach out to Root Trackers by Yaira. Congratulations, sis. I'm so thrilled for you. She can help you to figure all this out. to go through the same organization to get what's due you. Okay? This is the work, family. Thank you, beloved BB. I have all the important documents and the deed. It also has oil and minerals, money just sitting in the bureau with my second great-grandfather's name on it. Look at that. Most of us have stolen property. If we did our genealogy, it would show. Root trackers, please, Yaira, put how they can reach you in the chat. I mean, and she's not even charging as much as they charge through Ancestry.com. So please reach out to her. I'm going to get on my paperwork today so I can find what's owed me and get our claims going. This is the way we got to do it, family, because if you're waiting on federal reparations, you're going to be waiting till times get better, child. You got to be active right now and get what you're due. I would assume that they did what they had to do in their best interest as best they could evaluate it. Yes, 3 Carl, 3 Car 1, 3 Car 13, Michael 3. Absolutely, but that's going to be the case even with our folks in reparations. How you going to rob a people for 500 years and then get particular about how they should spend their reparations because they might not spend it like you, or they might not want to go out and buy a bunch of farmland? You don't make sense. You're just trying to say stuff just to say stuff to try to prevent us from getting what we're owed. How people spend their reparations is none of our business. We don't know what kind of trials they're facing and why they would need money right now. That's the only real reparations I'm fighting for. That and enforced protections, because we got protections on the books. They're just not enacted. They're enacted, but they're protecting everyone but us. They're not being enforced where we're concerned. So we're going to fix that in the spirit in just a few minutes. Hi, Tay-Bay. If they only sold a portion of that land, that's better news, because they definitely deserve more than $20 million for that entire property. Say that there, Bootney. I'm with you. I'm going to look further into that story to find out what really happened. It really does. They threw my family out without their personal things. 110 acres. I'm countersuing all those years. That's the work. I am so thrilled for you, Yaira. I am loving the positive news today. It's balancing out all this BS. Bootney, I'm with you, family. This is what we need to be doing. We need to balance these diabolical current events with the great Freedmen news happening. Absolutely need to do that. I think I'm going to add that as a segment. Okay. That's good to know too. Yes, thank Most High Almighty for them only selling a portion too. Tay Bay says, let's go, family, and get our ish stuff back. 8 to 14%, Tay Bay! And 18 to 29 years old in the lower income communities, family. Tay Bay. That's who I'm fighting for. Oh my gosh, I could just sit them down and show them 350 videos how I've been fighting for them all this time with some support and some help. Yes, at Bootney, we must vibrate at a high equilibrium as much as possible. True statement, Yaira. A portion of sales is not bad at all. Yeah, we're getting reparations. Yay. And yeah, we have to keep our energy up surrounding it, family. We got to stay in the trenches in terms of consciousness. We got to bring it into manifestation the way our ancestors did our freedom. I'm tired of being sick and tired. I know, family. I got something for that, though. We about to get into it. It's 2:45. Joe friggin' Crow just made a statement responding to closing borders, talking about we used to be bipartisan. Ish the F up. Yeah, I know, baby. I got more articles. I'll bring them tomorrow since I didn't get to finish in this segment. The border security is essential. That's it, family. I mean, we're done. if we continue at the rate of which Joe Crow wants to bring in these immigrants. Tomorrow we're going to get into it. I'm going to be reading from another article. I'm going to be talking about Lori Lightfoot giving illegals housing over American freedmen. I'm going to be talking about immigration parole program where Biden wants to give entry into the country to $36,000 per month. There's another one where he wants to do $30,000 per month. Offers legal path for $30,000 a month while claiming that he's tightening the border. He's a lie. He's only keeping black folks out or folks he don't like. Yeah, I'll finish that part up tomorrow. We're running out of time. Better listen to Angela, says Q-Lane. Somebody's listening to Angela. Q-Lane, somebody's listening to me. DSC is worried. No, they're not. They're just, they're worried that their plans to erase and replace us and neutralize our vote have not been fully implemented because of what just happened in the midterms. Thanks to the 14% American freedmen ages 18 to 29 predominantly, and some of us Gen Xers. And oh my God. I am so happy. I'll probably finish that article tomorrow as well. It is essential at 3CAR, that POTUS allowed $30,000 a month to come in except for any Afro-Latina migrants. Honey, ain't his racism Joe Crow? While some sheeple want to tell me he's reformed, he's a reform racist. Notice all of that new House Speaker concluded. First full new moon of the year and the anniversary of the opposing class to the Capitol, January 6th. Angela, we need generational institutionalized wealth. You better know it. And we're going to get it. I'm letting all of my family in Louisiana, Tennessee, St. Louis, and my church all know to vote for closing the borders and reparations for Black Americans. Thank you, Gwen XOXO. Yaira says a bunch of Ukrainian Nazis were at the January 6th. Oh, wow. Bibi says the truth of the matter, reparations is not a debatable matter, in-house and out-house, period. Oh, you're welcome, beloved Yaira. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Deborah Burrow, I appreciate you, family. Thank you for blessing the broadcast, sis. I'll highlight it momentarily. That's right, The Rock. Oh, what they do with Bruce Beach is their business. Ninjas need to stop pocket watching. Hi, Patty Cakes. Welcome to the live, fam. There she is, Deborah. Thank you for blessing the broadcast. I appreciate you, family. The root tracker, I need your info. I have my grandma's birth certificate, says Bootney. Gwen says she needs help, Yaira. I better do my paperwork right now. You about to get all this business flowing. Okay, y'all. That's my time. So let's get into the exercise, okay? Hi, Lisa. Okay, Shadow, I see you, family. Here I am. Yes, thank you. You might have to rewind it, love. I'm about to close us out. But what I need, because I am done trauma bonding in 23, and I spoke to one of my spiritual counselors, Shavi Zane, and she mentioned how I need to spiritualize the experience when I come over here and impart the diabolical news, so I don't leave here feeling heavy like I left you guys disempowered. And the only way I know out is from within. I'm a metaphysician. I'm a spiritualist. Yes, I know you hear me raving like a lunatic and cursing like a sailor on many occasions, but I know who I am. Okay? I am Angela Nirvana, the temple of the spirit of the living God. As are you. You're not Angela Nirvana. You're Bootney. You're the Bootney temple of the spirit of the living God. You're the Gwen Exo temple of the living God. You're the Miss Burroughs temple of the living God. Okay? Yaira temple. Put your first name. You are the temple of the spirit of the living God. Okay? So when I don't get a chance to infuse that in everything I do, I just am on angry. And I'm just upset. But now, if each and every time I do a broadcast of these current events, I can get your help in spiritualizing the experience and in breaking the cycle of it, breaking this thing that looms over us for the last 500 years. We, as spiritualists, as the temple of the spirit of the living God, we're capable of using our words to manifest the desires of our heart. So if reparations is our desire, we have to know the truth and we have to use our words to break the back of institutional systemic Crayola wanton white supremacy in this country. And we have to affirm in its place what we want. So let me get to it before I pray us out. So you can rewind this and do this practice with me. I'm going to be doing this at the end of every broadcast, but today I'll give you your instructions. So this is the first declaration that you're going to be writing, burning, and releasing. Okay? If you choose to participate with me spiritually, to rid these Crayola wanton white supremacists of their foothold, their stranglehold of American freedmen, I need you to do this. Now, I edited some of the words of my spiritual counselor, Shabi Zhang, and to come up with this particular exercise. This is something I got from her, and now I'm sharing it with you. So the first declaration that you're about to hear, remember, I know it's a lot to write, but this is imperative for us to thrive and to flourish in this country that our ancestors built with their lives. So we need to bring in that spirit. Well, if you're not spiritual, you don't want to do this part, you can check out, because the broadcast, I'm done with the current events segment of it. So if you don't want to do this part, you can please excuse yourself. But this is the way I've manifested my property. I've manifested my beautiful daughter. I manifested living on the beach. I learned to use my words because your words have power. Okay. And so I've learned to use them to manifest much in my life. And I want to get back to that practice, even as I fight for reparations. I want us to be able to fight without the fight being within us. And I find that without this component, it just doesn't feel quite right. What it does feel like, however, is trauma bonding. And I refuse to do that with you. I want to share with you and weaponize the current events to help you understand why you must weaponize your vote, why you must get involved, why you must advocate for reparations. I want to use it in that way. But the flip side to that is I want to empower you. So you can take this prayer that I'm about to do, and you can apply it to anything in your life. And you can apply this practice to anything in your life that you want to get rid of, and then the things you want to invite. So here's the first declaration. You're going to write this down. I'm not going to repeat it. You're going to have to rewind the show. And you're going to burn it and release it. Okay? So the first part is, I declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is served over all corrupt beings of the government, judicial systems, including the police officers, CPS, Child Protective Services, judges, attorneys, FBI agents, the CIA, and all personnel working for the U.S. corporation with wicked intentions. All hidden corruption and agendas are now destroyed forever. Forevermore, in spirit and in flesh, in sleep and in awakened states, across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. Now, after you write it, as you watch it go up in flames, you need to give thanks to the Most High God for granting you the power and the authority to bring down this judgment. And then you need to call on your entire spiritual team, the ancestors, to come in and assist you with establishing these things in spirit and in flesh. Then, once you've done the burning and releasing, you're going to write this down on a candle, a glass candle, okay? In permanent marker, all right? Now, that's just symbolic. You don't really have to do that part, but you need to write it. Writing is important, not even typing it as much as writing it. And we need to be doing this daily. I'm going to be doing it every time I go live, okay? So you need to write this down and you need to stand in agreement with me daily. So after you've done the burning and releasing, you're going to write this down on a candle with a permanent marker, a glass candle. You can get them for very cheap at the $1.25 store. The Dollar Tree is now $1.25, okay? So you can do that, or you could just have a journal that's dedicated to breaking these corrupt, nefarious, ethno-genocidal plans that have a stranglehold on our people. This is the way we defeat them in the spirit. Okay? This is the second part. You're going to write, all corruption of the U.S. corporation and the police force is now exposed, and justice for all wicked deeds and hidden acts, known and unknown, is now exposed and established in spirit and in flesh, and sleep and in awakened states across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. And so it is. So while it's a lot to write down, consider the impact we will have as spiritual giants on behalf of ourselves, our children, our offspring, and our ancestors. It will be well worth the time it takes to do this exercise. So I really need my spiritual warriors to actually do this exercise with me, because this is how our ancestors manifested our freedom. They had to do it in spirit. They had no sponsors. Like many of us don't have any sponsors. We have no friends. So we have to use our inner Christ, our inner Buddha, our inner Yahweh, our Yeshua, whatever you want to call that inner light, that inner Christ that is yours. Okay? That is who you are. You're not the body. You're that spirit. And that's why you keep showing up. Because spiritually, my Christ is speaking to your inner Christ. Okay? And so it's up to us to use our knowledge of spirit to defeat the government called the U.S. corporation, and every player that has a role in keeping us oppressed and suppressed to our own peril. It's time for the spiritual giant within each and every one of us to rise. And there you have it. That's the broadcast. And I'm going to be doing that at the end. So write it down daily. And let's get to work in the spirit as we are in the flesh, okay? With that being said, family, thank you one and all for being here with me. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. If you feel so compelled, bless the Cash App. And join me tomorrow on Nirvana World TV. Okay? Nirvana World TV. That's going to be a new creation that I'm going to be working on after I cook my daughter's dinner. I'm going to be bringing you Marianne Williamson's A Course in Weight Loss. Okay? So get this. You can get the book or you don't have to. I'm going to be doing my notes and going over my insights. It's the 21 spiritual lessons for surrendering your weight forever, because the real weight is on the inside of us, the traumas. And we need to heal from our traumas to keep weight off in the outer. We must get the weight off and excavate it from the inside. So that's going to be on my new broadcast on my new channel called Nirvana World TV. And it's going to be labeled Metaphysically Speaking. Okay? So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. Let me look at my calendar and tell you a time. Because thank you, Jewel. I see you over here in my text. Hold on one second, family. I want to start doing that particular broadcast in the mornings, personally. But before y'all go to work, tomorrow's the 9th. I have an 11:30. Okay. The first broadcast I do will probably be tomorrow around 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Nirvana World TV. Look for that tonight. Or tomorrow morning, actually, because I got to cook now. And it'll probably be around 4. And then I'll come back with the rest of my current events that I didn't get to finish today. I'll come back with that. That broadcast will probably be weekly. So Nirvana World TV will be daily. Metaphysically Speaking will be daily. Okay? We're going to be healing on that channel. All of our traumas. With that being said, family, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freedmen and its allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God, the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. If no one's told you today how much they love you, do know that I love you black, and I love you Freedmen strong. Yes, I do. Timothy Bright. Why aren't we going to the Capitol, the Senate, and White House demanding protection bills? Reparations is what owes, but we don't have a protection bill that should. Okay. Timothy Bright, in a nutshell, this is the local advocacy work that's being done. And so if you'd like to get involved, please write me at therepperspect@gmail.com. A lot of these things need meetings, Timothy. You can't just show up because they could be on recess. So if you want to get involved on that level, to any and each and every one of you that want to get involved on that level, please Gmail me at therepperspect@gmail. It's in the description box below, as well as Strolling in the Barn. And with that being said, family, let me finish us out. That if no one's told you today how much they love you, know that I love you black and Freedmen strong. Yes, I do. And until we meet again tomorrow, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening. All right, family, until tomorrow, I'm believing for each and every one of us a ton of peace, love, and reparations. Reparations. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you.